Hi guys, it's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Tuesday, December 12th, 2023, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now it is 2:51 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States, and we currently have US nuclear forces on high alert again. Okay, we currently have two US B 52 nuclear bombers airborne over the United States. We also have a nuke sniffer plane airborne and a combat sentinel plane airborne. So, what you're looking at here are the flight paths of all of these planes. This was taken just about an hour ago, so right around 2 p.m. Eastern Time. You can see one B 52 heading west from Minot Air Force Base towards Montana. Another one was going southeast from Minot Air Force Base over Missouri. And interestingly, the one over Missouri turned its transponder off. So we have one B 52 with its transponder off, another one airborne over Montana, a combat sentinel plane. This is a reconnaissance plane that provides intelligence directly to the president and the Joint Chiefs. We have one of those airborne over the Midwest. We also have a nuke sniffer plane airborne as well. And we also have two nuclear war command and control planes airborne right now. Here's a close-up shot of the nuke sniffer plane and the combat sentinel plane. The combat sentinel plane was flying over Milwaukee. It was doing some loops over Milwaukee, possibly touch and goes. And the nuke sniffer plane is over Wisconsin and the UP of Michigan right now. And just want to show you guys the nuclear war command and control planes. These planes are responsible for remotely launching all of our Minuteman III ICBMs. One of them is over northern Texas right now, or eastern Texas, shall I say, and then one is heading out into the Atlantic from Patuxent River. That's their East Coast home base. These planes are critical for communicating with our nuclear-armed submarines. In the event of a nuclear war, if our ground-based transmitter sites get taken out by enemy weapons, we could still communicate with our nuclear armed submarines and issue launch orders if necessary using these planes. They have a special antenna that they deploy out the back of the aircraft, and that's how they can communicate with the submarines through VLF, very low frequency. And here we have a close-up shot of one of the B-52s getting aerially refueled in north central Montana near Fort Peck Indian Reservation. You can see the aerial refueler came from Spokane and the B-52 came from Minot, and they met midair in north central Montana. So, guys, our nuclear forces are on high alert for some reason. Yesterday, we had 6 nuclear war command and control planes in the air at the same time. What you're looking at here is a screenshot from yesterday. I reported this yesterday. I believe I was probably the first person to report on this on social media. And this is very serious, guys. I haven't seen this many nuclear war command and control planes in the air at the same time, probably ever. In August or September, I think there was one day where there were 5, potentially 6, but they weren't all in the air at exactly the same time. So this is unprecedented, basically, guys. Okay. Our nuclear forces are on high alert, whether they're doing exercises or what, it doesn't matter. Okay. That's a sign that we're on high alert. And, a lot of people say, oh, these are just scheduled exercises. How do you know? Okay. Unless you work with these planes and you're part of the U.S. nuclear forces, how do you know that these are scheduled exercises? Nobody knows. Okay. Unless you're a pilot of these planes, then you're going to know. Unless you work for Air Force Global Strike Command, you're in the military. Okay, otherwise people are not going to know if this is an exercise or what. Nobody knows. I don't know. But I can tell you this. I've never seen exercises done with this many nuclear warplanes at one time. Okay, they don't need to do an exercise with all of our nuclear warplanes at the same time. They don't have to do it like that. Okay. And I've been monitoring flights for the last 3 to 4 years, and I've never seen this many in the air, exercise or not. So it's a red flag. And we have U.S. Central Command posting an update on the cargo ship that was struck by a missile last night. In case you missed my live emergency broadcast last night, I'm just going to summarize what happened. Last night, one ship owned by a Norwegian company, it was an oil tanker, was hit with an anti-ship missile near the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, which is between Yemen and Africa. And apparently another ship was ordered to change course by the Yemen military, basically an attempted hijacking. Okay, and so let me just read to you what CENTCOM put out late last night. At around 4 p.m. Eastern Time on December 11th, the motor tanker Strinda was attacked by what is assessed to have been an anti-ship cruise missile launched from a Houthi-controlled area of Yemen while passing through the Bab el-Mandeb. The Strinda reported damage causing a fire on board, but no casualties at this time. There were no U.S. ships in the vicinity at the time of the attack, but the USS Mason responded to the Strinda's Mayday call and is currently rendering assistance. And we have the spokesman for the Yemen Armed Forces releasing a statement this morning. I want to read to you what he wrote. He said, the naval forces of the Yemeni armed forces carried out a qualitative military operation against the Norwegian ship Strinda, which was loaded with oil and headed to the Israeli entity. It was targeted with a suitable naval missile. Over the past 2 days, the Yemeni armed forces succeeded in preventing the passage of several ships. They responded to the warnings of the Yemeni naval forces and did not resort to targeting the Norwegian ship loaded with oil until its crew rejected all warning calls. The Yemeni armed forces will not hesitate to target any ship that violates what was stated in the previous statements. The Yemeni armed forces confirmed that they continue to prevent all ships of all nationalities heading to Israeli ports from navigating in the Arab and Red Seas until they bring in the food and medicine that our steadfast brothers in the Gaza Strip need. Okay, so he's basically reaffirming that the Yemen armed forces, the Yemen military, is going to stop any ship from going into the Red Sea destined for Israel. He also mentions the Arab Sea, which is the Persian Gulf, which is very interesting. And he basically said that they stopped multiple ships already from passing through the strait. Okay, so we basically have a blockade on Israel right now. Okay, Yemen is blockading Israel. They're blockading the Red Sea, which is going to have a huge effect on the Israeli economy because Israel uses the Red Sea to conduct a lot of commerce. Okay, that's how they get goods to Asia and to points east. Okay, otherwise they would have to transport the goods across the Arabian Peninsula somehow all the way to Bahrain or somewhere and then go through the Persian Gulf. Okay, so this is going to have a huge economic effect on Israel, and Israel already warned the U.S. that if the U.S. doesn't do something to unblock the Red Sea and stop these attacks from happening, then Israel's going to do it themselves. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens here. But we do have some major breaking news that the Israeli Navy has deployed a SAR 6 corvette to the Red Sea to deal with the Yemeni threats. Okay, I have a picture of it here. Okay, this is the SAR 6 corvette. It has surface-to-air missiles. It has anti-ship missiles. It has a chain gun. It has radars. It has everything. So Israel's not messing around, okay? We're going to have to wait and see what happens here. But looks like Israel's going to take matters into their own hands. And I want to just update you guys on the cybersecurity situation. So yesterday, a number of internet providers and cable companies, cell phone companies all got hit by some kind of cyber attack. Also, social media platforms, Rumble, Facebook, Comcast, Frontier, Spectrum, they all got hit with some kind of cyber attack yesterday. And we also had major breaking news come out yesterday from various sources inside of the US government that China has been trying to gain access to our critical infrastructure, and they're doing it through cyberspace. They're creating back doors into our critical infrastructure. In the event of some kind of a war with the U.S., they would basically be able to shut down our critical infrastructure and destroy it. Okay, we're talking about power plants, dams, pipelines, and the director of national intelligence here in the U.S. confirmed that China's already done that. Okay, he confirmed it yesterday that they've already built back doors into all of our critical infrastructure. That is very, very concerning, guys. Okay, and this is something that I've known about for years, but suddenly now they're officially telling us now. All right, and I think the reason why is they're expecting a war in Taiwan soon, so they don't want it to be like a big shock when we get hacked, and when China, uses their hacking army to destroy our grid. But basically, they could shut down our power grid. They could overload circuits. They could cause damage at power plants, dams, pipelines. They can control industrial control systems, basically, which enables the hackers to control all the most sensitive controls in some of these things like power plants, dams. I mean, just imagine what they could do. Okay, and this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, they have brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you have to use the link preparewith.nyprepper.com. And the link is in the description below this video. And this 3-month emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life, and it's all contained within 6 rugged, watertight buckets. So it doesn't take up a lot of space. Pretty much anyone can find the space in their home to fit 6 buckets, and it'll cover you for 3 months. And it's a variety of food, lunches, breakfasts, dinners, drinks, snacks, free shipping included, 25% off their normal price. Use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get the discount. They also have a 2-week emergency food supply, which is excellent for outdoorsmen or people who go vehicle camping. You don't have to worry about rotating anything. You don't have to worry about your preps going bad. Just store this stuff in a temperature stable location, not too cold, not too hot, stable throughout the year, and it will last 25 years. They also have a general store. If you click the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnyprepper.com, it'll take you to their general store where they have everything you can imagine, from potassium iodide to water filters, solar generators, solar panels, survival seeds, fire starters, anything you can imagine, it's all there. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month freeze-dried food supply. And the link is in the description below this video. So this is very, very serious, but we have the CISA, the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, putting out a bulletin about 10 days ago, warning about Iranian cyber actors exploiting PLCs in multiple sectors, including U.S. water and wastewater systems. PLCs are programmable logic controllers. All right. So they're obviously concerned about it. Okay. They're concerned about our infrastructure getting compromised. And apparently, Iran and Russia are working on a major agreement, and a lot of work has already been done. This was being reported by the Russian Foreign Ministry, and we do know that the president of Iran went to Moscow last week, and Putin visited Saudi Arabia and the UAE. So something's going on behind the scenes, guys, okay? But the Russian Foreign Ministry is reporting that Iran and Russia are working on a major agreement, and a lot of work has been done already. So, the guys, this is coming right out of the Bible, okay? The book of Ezekiel, chapter 38 and 39, talks about the Gog and Magog war, the invasion of Israel, or the attempted invasion of Israel, because their invasion is unsuccessful because God Himself stops them before they can even enter Israel. But in Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39, it talks about Russia and Iran and a bunch of Middle Eastern countries getting together to attack Israel, and we're seeing the beginning stages of that happening now. Okay, um, I've heard rumors that Putin personally paid Hamas $100 million to carry out that attack on Israel, and it's interesting that Hamas carried out that attack on Israel on Putin's birthday, like it's some kind of sick present for Putin, but we'll have to wait and see what this agreement is. But this is very, very concerning. We have the Daily Mail quoting a nuclear expert, Dr. Bahram Gaisi, saying that Vladimir Putin could deploy tactical nuclear weapons in Ukraine amid growing battlefield losses and no victory in sight in a move that could spark a third world war, a nuclear expert has warned. Dr. Bahram Giaisi, a nuclear scientist, said Putin could view deploying tactical nukes as a justified escalation of the Ukraine war if the Russian despot feels his forces face defeat amid a continued supply of Western weapons to Kyiv. The radioactive fallout from such a strike would threaten the lives of those living in NATO countries such as Hungary, Poland, Romania, and Slovakia, Dr. Giaisi warned. Dr. Giaisi, an associate fellow of the Henry Jackson Society think tank, said the UK and NATO could view this as a radiological attack on member states and force them to declare war on Russia under Article 5 of the Military Alliances Treaty. The UK and its NATO allies could respond by deploying their own advanced nuclear missiles at Russia in a move that would spark a third world war. The direct involvement of the UK deploying its advanced nuclear missiles under the auspices of NATO could lead to a major nuclear confrontation in Europe, Dr. Giaisi said in a report. Alan Mendoza, the executive director of Henry Jackson Society, told the Daily Mail that such a doomsday scenario will turn into a reality if Putin feels he is losing the war in Ukraine. If Putin's increasing desperation to win a war he is slowly losing turns to outright panic, then there are fears that he might go nuclear in order to turn the tide of the battle his way. All right, so we have multiple nuclear experts saying that Putin could use tactical nukes in Ukraine, and if he did that, the fallout could go into Eastern European countries like Poland, Slovakia, Romania, which could cause NATO to declare Article 5. And remember, just, 3 months ago, Lindsey Graham and Richard Blumenthal, U.S. senators, were pushing for a resolution to allow NATO to declare Article 5 if any kind of radiation were to blow into NATO countries that are bordering Ukraine, either from tactical nukes or from the meltdown of a nuclear power plant caused by Russia. Okay, so this is very concerning, guys. And we do know that Zelensky is in the U.S. right now. He's supposed to meet with Biden and Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, and he's supposed to also meet with senators. So I'll update you guys on the results of that later on today. And apparently, negotiations between Hamas and Israel on a new hostage exchange deal could start next week, according to Al Arabia. An Israeli analyst on Israeli Channel 13 said the leader of Iran, the Ayatollah Khamenei, told the Islamic countries to impose sanctions on Israel, but the Arab states refused. So that's pretty interesting. And the Israeli Defense Forces apparently seized hundreds of rockets, mortar shells, and grenades in recent raids on a Hamas site in the West Bank. And Palestinian media is reporting that there are renewed clashes in the Khan Yunis areas with heavy Israeli artillery shelling. Okay, Khan Yunis is in southern Gaza. That's where apparently a lot of the high profile leaders of Hamas are located, where they live. And US President Joe Biden hosted a White House Hanukkah party yesterday where he said he was a Zionist and pledged continued support for Israel. He said, were there no Israel, there wouldn't be a Jew in the world that is safe. And he also said, I am a Zionist. And he said the U.S. will continue to provide military assistance to Israel until they get rid of Hamas, but we have to be careful. They have to be careful. The whole world's public opinion can shift overnight. We can't let that happen. As I said after the attack, my commitment to the safety of the Jewish people and the security of Israel, its right to exist as an independent Jewish state, is unshakable. The warmth and connection I feel to the Jewish community is unquestionable. I ran into trouble and criticism when I said a few years ago that you don't have to be Jewish to be a Zionist, and I am a Zionist. So, pretty strong words there from Biden. He's kind of taking the same approach with Israel as he took with Ukraine. And several Palestinians were killed in a drone strike during an Israeli Defense Force raid on the West Bank. An Israeli Defense Force drone carried out an airstrike on a group of Palestinian terrorists during an army raid on the West Bank city of Jenin, killing several terrorists. Palestinian and Hebrew media are both reporting. And the New York Times is quoting U.S. officials as saying that Moscow has more troops, ammunition, and missiles and has increased its superiority and firepower with a fleet of drones on the battlefield, many of which were supplied by Iran. So Russia is rearming themselves, okay? And we do know that Russia has been making gains in Avdiivka. And one of the Ukrainian generals, Oleksandr Syrsky, is saying that Russia may try to take back Kupiansk even. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Zelensky met with various defense contractors yesterday, and he proposed the idea of creating factories in Ukraine to build weapons jointly with U.S. defense contractors, which would create jobs for Ukrainians. And in a speech on Monday at the National Defense University in Washington, D.C., Zelensky said that politics should not betray Ukraine's soldiers, and he echoed Biden in saying that the struggle had global implications. When the free world hesitates, that's when dictatorships celebrate and their most dangerous ambitions ripen. They see their dreams come true when they see delays. Putin must lose, he said. Zelensky also met with the heads of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank as he seeks to shore up his nation's beleaguered economy. The IMF announced the release of a new $900 million tranche in ongoing long-term loans, okay? So $900 million, that's absolutely insane. And here we have the flight path of a U.S. sub-hunter plane patrolling the Strait of Hormuz late last night. And the Ukrainian border guard is saying that one of the border crossings with Poland has been unblocked. If you guys are unaware, Polish truckers have blockaded the Polish border to prevent Ukrainian truckers from coming in and out competing them essentially. And apparently, this is at the Yagodzin Dorogusk border crossing. So apparently, The checkpoint was unblocked as of yesterday, 2 p.m. local time. So some good news there. And here we have a picture of that border crossing. And in Estonia, apparently the Estonian government does not plan to hand out weapons to civilians in the event of an invasion by Russia. Apparently, they're going to rely on their territorial defense forces. This is being reported by ERR Television. And we do know that uh, Estonia has been putting up anti tank obstacles along their border with Russia near the city of Narva. They put dragon's teeth along the border crossing, and they've been putting up fencing. Finland has shut down their entire border with Russia. Latvia and Lithuania have shut down border crossings with Russia. Poland has put up anti tank obstacles along their border with Russia and also fencing. So, we have to keep an eye on the Baltic region, guys, from Poland all the way up to Finland. Those countries are very vulnerable, especially the uh, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. Okay. I would say especially Estonia and Latvia because they're furthest away from the rest of NATO and they don't have a huge NATO presence on their territories. Okay. So there's also a good amount of Russians in Estonia and Latvia, and Putin could use that as a reason to go in and try to take the eastern parts of those countries. Putin already warned Latvia. He made a chilling statement a week ago saying that if Latvia doesn't stop their anti-Russian domestic policies, then there's going to be repercussions in so many words. He basically said that. Okay. We have a weird situation in Pakistan. Apparently, a suicide attack on a military base killed 23 people in Pakistan. And a bottle was thrown into the motorcade of the new president of Argentina immediately after his inauguration. Apparently, one of his bodyguards was injured. And here we have a picture of Vladimir Zelensky meeting with U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. Okay, he was the first person that Zelensky spoke with when he got to the U.S. yesterday. All right. And here we have some video footage coming from New York City. Apparently, there was a massive pro-Palestine protest on one of the bridges. I can't tell which bridge this is because it's dark, but you can see the Palestinian flags here. Apparently, this shut down the bridge for a short period of time last night. So we have to be on high alert, guys. We got Chinese hackers, okay, Chinese military hackers uh, building back doors into our critical infrastructure. They can literally shut us down at any moment, turn our power off, cut off our fuel supplies, damage everything. We also have these protesters that are increasingly becoming more and more aggressive. Okay. We also have the possibility of terrorism. Okay. Over a week ago, the FBI director in a Senate hearing said that he hasn't seen this amount of threats to the U.S. as far as terrorism goes since before 9/11. Okay. We've already had a few suspicious incidents here in the US. We've had attacks in the EU. One of the EU commissioners has been warning that this holiday season there could be massive attacks in the EU. We have the situation with Russia and Ukraine. We have Guyana and Venezuela. Okay, Putin is going to be giving his end of year press conference on Thursday. I'm going to see if I can broadcast that live. And also, the president of Venezuela supposedly is going to meet the president of Guyana this Thursday as well. So I'll keep you guys updated on all these events. And I will be releasing another breaking news update later on this evening. So make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell icon below so you get notified when I post these updates. And until next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.